real nasty way we see denials of U.S. citizenship naturalization cases for people who are green card holders is when they look into the person's marriage history. Now, you might be applying for a citizenship based on 5 years, not applying faster to the 3 year method based on being married to a U.S. citizen. But if you're using the 5 year method and they're not primarily going to look at your marriage, they still can look into it. And they'll look at your history of living together, your addresses, and if they think that the marriage at that time as citizenship wasn't real, or that maybe it was real, but you separated or divorced, but you didn't update the government in your removal conditions application, they may go ahead and deny you and even put your removal proceedings, deportation, for fraud or having a false marriage and that kind of stuff. So you might be mindful when you're at citizenship stage, that's the final step, and they're going to go through everything to make sure you're good. Because once you get citizenship, it's unlikely they're going to reopen the case and go after you or do anything like that. So this last step, they want to take every precaution possible. So I've seen problems where people just don't remember their address history right. They say different things, and then they'll look at their previous applications and say, hey, your address with your spouse is a match. You weren't really living with them. You're lying to us about living with your spouse. And sometimes, they weren't. They just weren't paying attention to the dates. But in immigration, all throughout the immigration process, every single detail has to be perfect and consistent because American immigration system will look back at it. And we have this problem, a lot of people who live overseas who just get frustrated with these forms. They may not speak the language and think it's not as important because in their home countries, these forms are just a formality. But when you're doing U.S. immigration, every question, every form is intentional and they'll follow you for the rest of your life. So you have to be as good as possible when you're answering these and be consistent as possible. So keep track of your records and information until you're done with everything.